What's up, guys? Nutrition challenge starting next week. I believe that is 7/15. It's going to run 6 weeks. We're just trying to do kind of a reset, try to teach a little bit of portion control, and try to kind of wean us off some of the things that I think may be affecting a lot of our diets. A good diet is really made up of 3 things. The actual dieting, okay, exercise, and sleep. And most of us get one of those, and that's the exercise. Especially if you're here at the gym, you're coming probably 3-4 times a week. You're getting the exercise part in, but the majority of us miss the sleep and the dieting part. And let's be honest, those are really the 2 hard parts. Especially if you're coming to a CrossFit gym, we already have the workout made up for you. We're gonna teach you how to do it. Everything's gonna be good, right? But it's the other 2 parts that are hard, and that's what we're gonna try to focus on this challenge here. Okay, the diet that we're gonna follow is your basic CrossFit diet. It's eat meats and veggies, nuts and seeds, some starch, little fruit, no sugar, and eat enough to support exercise, but not fat. And that's kind of like the portion control part. And then the other things is the actual sustenance of what we're eating. The meats part is pretty easy. We're gonna try to eat lean meat. So you're thinking like turkey, chicken, fish. We're gonna try to avoid red meat if possible. Now, if that's all your family will eat is red meat, that's great, but we're gonna try to avoid it completely through the 6 weeks. So we're trying to avoid steak or ground beef or even bison. But if you have to, make sure you're choosing like a lean meat, 90-10 ground beef or something along those lines. But for the most part, skip it. Substitute turkey, substitute something else. The protein that we're gonna try to avoid, or that we will avoid, is dairy. Anything dairy. So we're talking milk, yogurt, cheese, anything along those lines. Unfortunately, a lot of our protein shakes, our post-workout protein, does have dairy in it, and whey is derived from dairy, and so is like the casein protein that we take at night. We're gonna try to avoid those completely, so we need to find an alternate source of that. And most likely, if you're a dude that's over 15% body fat or a lady that's over 20% body fat, you don't need to be taking those anyways during this, because you're gonna get extra calories that we don't need. If you're somebody that's used to post-workout nutrition or like supplementing, then maybe go with like a 0-calorie BCAA supplement. And if you're somebody that works out multiple times a day, maybe more than just a 1-hour CrossFit class, maybe you're supplementing with BCAAs throughout the day to make sure that we're not losing any of that muscle or any of those workouts that we're putting in. So the starchy carbs and the fruit, that's gonna be another part of our plate, right? What our plate is made up of. We're trying not to eat a lot of those, and really like the starchy carbs that we're gonna allow will be like potatoes and some like organic rices, but that's gonna be designated for only really your post-workout meals, right? So when we work out, we eat the starchy carbs, and the other meals that we're gonna eat, we're gonna try to keep that to like our fruit, right? Like a really crisp fruit, not a tropical fruit, so we're gonna avoid like kiwis and mangoes and things like that. We're gonna stick more to like apples and pears, something crisp, a little bit lower in sugar and a little bit more dense. So fruit and some of the starchy carbs are how we're gonna get our carbohydrates. Again, we're trying to focus those mostly around our workouts. There are some carbohydrates that we're trying to avoid, and those are basically legumes or lentils and grains. So we're gonna try to avoid bread, or we are going to avoid bread, oatmeal, any type of oats, pasta, and we're gonna avoid things like chickpeas, black beans, refried beans, any of those, peanuts. These are all things that contain a type of protein that could mess up or may mess up your digestive system or immune system and cause some disruption there, right? So we're just gonna try to clean ourselves of it for 6 weeks and see what happens. And maybe you find some positive to it, or maybe you find some negatives to it, but these are things that we're gonna avoid as far as carbohydrate sources. During this challenge, every meal that we eat is gonna be loaded with vegetables. We're gonna look at it as almost 50% plants and 50% protein, 50% carbs. So plants, you're gonna be able to eat whatever's green, whatever fruit, whatever vegetable, whatever you wanna do as far as vegetables, load up every meal, eat as much as you can. So very, very simple there. Fats, we're gonna try to add a fat to each day or each meal or whatever. We're gonna do some healthy fats, things like avocados, olive oil, coconut oil, things along those lines to try to get the fat from. We're gonna try to avoid like butters and stuff like that. So we have the actual contents of what each meal is gonna look like. Now we're gonna talk about the actual portion control part that we're gonna use. Kind of piggybacking this off of another challenge that I saw online, and we're gonna use these containers. These containers are basically divided into 3 sections. You have a big section where we're gonna load it up with vegetables, and the 2 small sections, we're gonna put our protein and our carbs in there. Whether it's be our fruit carbs or our starchy carbs, that's where we're gonna load it up in. We're gonna use these as our portion control by saying if you're a male or female, 165 pounds or less than 165 pounds, then you're gonna be limited to 3 of these a day. And if you're 165 pounds or more, you're gonna get up to 4. You could eat 3, but most you can eat is 4. And what this is gonna allow us to do is start trying to portion control not only how much protein and carbs we're intaking and how many vegetables we're eating, but also how many meals throughout the day. Some of us may not have these, or maybe we go out to eat or something like that. We could use simple measurements like a closed fist for protein size and an open hand like this for the amount of carbs, and then vegetables we know we can eat as much as we want. So going out to eat won't be that hard as long as you understand that we're trying to just make the square meal of protein, carbohydrate, and vegetables, and we're just trying to limit the amount of each one that we're taking in. The hard part about the portion control is that we're not allowing any snacks throughout the day. The only food that you will eat will come from these meals that you're preparing for yourself. So no snacking. That means no protein bars, no protein shakes. We're trying to avoid simple things like deli meats and any additional sweeteners, and I'll put a list in the notes of all the different things that we're going to avoid. I'm also going to send out an email with all these things on there as well, so you can have a little cheat sheet. And we're not starting until next week, so you have plenty of time to kind of prepare, but no snacking is the main thing. We're gonna really fight this urge to want to eat and try to really keep this portion control and keep our hunger and appetite under control. So we already have the exercise down, we know what to eat and how to portion control it, but now it's the sleep. That's the third part, okay? Most of us are probably getting less than 7 hours of sleep, and nobody can outwork a bad diet, and definitely nobody can outwork a bad diet and a bad sleep habits. The goal of this challenge is we're gonna get 7 hours of sleep or more every night. And we're gonna have a way to track it. I'll list that in the email and in the stats below or in the notes below. But that's very, very, very important for us to maintain a healthy life and a healthy diet and everything else. From losing fat to being fitter, you have to get enough sleep. I know most of us are probably rolling their eyes right now like there's no way, but there is. Be an adult, plan out your day, you can get the sleep. So it's a challenge. So we are gonna have a scoring system, and I'll talk about entry fees and things like that and how we win or whatever, but it is a challenge. And this is gonna be very challenging for a lot of us because nobody's really restricted themselves to not only portion control, but also restricting themselves to what they're eating in that portion control. So we have a couple different ways to score. The goal is to get as many points as possible. So the first one point way to score is eating real foods. So we're talking about real foods is the meats and veggies, nuts and seeds. Those are things that were once living, right? Those are things that are on the outside aisles of the grocery store. Most likely if you're traveling down the middle of the grocery store, you're not getting real food, okay? Pretty simple there. Portion control, that's making sure we're not eating more than we're supposed to, right? Whether it's eating out of the containers or using the fist and palm thing to make sure that we're portion controlling and not eating out too much. Make sure another point way is mostly plants. So eating majority plants, 50% of your diet should be plants. The great thing about that is if you feel like you're hungry, you just need to eat more plants. So add more vegetables to your plate, and I promise you at some point you're gonna be full. Sleep is the other way. Getting 7 or more hours of sleep, that's a plus. So you're getting a point there for proper sleep. Step goals. So we're doing simple step goals. Most people are like, well, I don't have a Fitbit or an iWatch. Well, most people have a phone. You can set that up on your phone. I'll put a link down below. You can set it up. It'll track your steps. 10,000 steps gets you a point for the day. And then also another point for attending CrossFit class. So if you come to class, you get a point for it. So obviously the person with the most points at the end of the 6 weeks wins. It's $40 to enter, but here's the catch. Every week you're gonna have to turn in your scores to me. It'll be Monday, this many points, Tuesday, this many points, and how you got the points. Super simple. I'll have a little Excel sheet that I'll send out to you. Fill it out, send it back to me. If you turn a score sheet into me every week with at least 25 points and 3 points from sleeping 7 hours, if you do that for 6 weeks, even if you don't win, you win your money back. You get your money back. So this challenge could actually be not only beneficial for you because it's going to give you that nutritional reset, help you lose weight and get a little bit more fitter, but also you could pay to do this, challenge yourself to do this, and then not even lose any money on it. So that's real big there. The goal of this whole thing is to get as much participation in it as we can. And when we do that, we create a little group and support group for everybody. It's only 6 weeks. This will get you through that 21-day habit breaking period of where hopefully we'll get out of eating snacks or eating bad food, and we'll kind of get more adjusted to eating healthy. There's a couple things I want to address here, right? The first one is, some people might be vegetarians, and there's a lot of things coming up that vegetarian and vegan might be better. Studies that show this, studies show this, but there's really no studies that show somebody who eats like this, right? You can be a meat eater, somebody who eats meat but eat like this, and I guarantee your levels look the same, but your exercise and your body looks completely different. So it's okay if you want to do vegetarian. You're not going to be able to do this challenge if you are vegetarian or vegan. But if you eat like this, it will set your body up in all those blood labs and things like that that are supposed to be so good for vegans, which they are, will also be good for you doing it this way. The other thing is that I'm going to hear a lot of people, well, I just don't have the motivation to do that. And I read this book, a guy named Jocko Willink. He kind of talks about discipline versus motivation, right? Like everybody says, I need motivation to get in the gym, or I need motivation to do this challenge, or I need motivation to do this diet. Motivation is only the thing that's going to get you started on something, right? Motivation never carries you through, because if you think about going to the gym, everybody starts out super motivated. They come for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they're like, man, this is great. And then they start falling off. And what that person's lacking is discipline. And that's what this is going to teach you to be. This is going to teach you to be disciplined. Discipline is what gets you back in the gym 6 weeks. This is what gets you fitter, faster, stronger, right? Having the discipline to tell yourself no, right? You don't need motivation to tell yourself no. You need the discipline to do that. This is going to teach you that. Discipline is going to take you a lot further than motivation will.